have to exist so the good ideas triumph. And that's really an argument against censorship on the internet, which is another problem that people have, especially censorship when it comes to something being ideologically based. But when you're thinking about quantum computing, I think this is small potatoes, right? I think we're looking at literally being able to change how we interact with the universe. Like when we were talking on our last podcast about the preponderance of evidence that there's things that operate inside of our atmosphere that are beyond imagination, that are they operate with no visible means of propulsion, they move at insane speeds, we don't understand what they are. If we think about what quantum computing is going to be capable of, that's the kind of stuff we're thinking about, right?
Yeah, you see, computers are the ultimate computers because they're running on atoms. If there are aliens in outer space, and I think there are, it means that they also have perfected quantum computers, and they can do calculations that are far beyond anything that we can calculate with. Like, for example, a wormhole. A wormhole, in principle, is a gateway between two distant points in space and time. It allows you to break the Einstein barrier and go faster than the speed of light. But the calculations are horrendous. It may take a quantum computer to sort through what happens when you go through a wormhole and wind up on the other side of the universe. And aliens probably already have done that.
Yeah,
They've probably had centuries experience with quantum computers because that's the ultimate computer. You can't put in anything smaller than an atom. And they probably already have used the quantum computers to navigate through wormholes, let's say, hypothetically.
It's so fascinating when you think where we were just a few thousand years ago, or a few hundred years ago, to where we are now. And then you imagine the invention of quantum computing, you imagine everything, just the whole idea of whatever we think of current computer progression just goes out the window. And it's insane calculation capabilities. Like we could be able to do something like that in the future.
Right. Quantum allows us to calculate things that are way beyond our ability to calculate today, like going through a wormhole or warp drive, or even the question of multiple universes. People ask the question, how come quantum computers are so powerful? Because they compute in parallel universes. This is multiverse, which of course Marvel Comics has discovered and the Oscars have discovered recently. But the multiverse idea comes from quantum physics. Electrons can be two places at the same time. Now, some people have a hard time getting their head around that, but used to it. That's why we have lasers. That's why we have transistors. That's why we have the internet. That's why we have this conversation. Because the electrons that are in this microphone dance between universes at the atomic level. And so we get used to the idea that quantum computers introduces a whole way of looking at reality. Now, reality is a Marvel comic, but the idea of the multiverse comes from quantum physics, and that is electrons can be multiple places at the same time.
Do you think this understanding of this and this race towards quantum computing and that kind of, and whatever is after that, do you think that is a natural course of the universe? That this happens whenever things are intelligent and sentient, they keep striving to create something?
So I think on the other end of the Milky Way galaxy, there's probably a young alien who's also talking about quantum computers, and they probably perfected it and have had experience with quantum computers maybe for dozens of years.
Well, also possibly every step in humanity's journey along the way to that point exists out there.
And all the goals of this journey, maybe they've already accomplished. Like, for example, we mentioned the possibility of slowing down the aging process. Quantum computers will be able to isolate where genetically at the DNA level, where errors build up, causing what is called aging. In which case, maybe mortality is something that the aliens have already cooked up. In which case, we have to deal with a whole new concept of biology and medicine, because they probably already have had thousands of years' experience with quantum computers. They manipulate molecules probably as part of their life.
And every step along the way probably exists too. So that might be, if you wanted to have a logical reason to why aliens visit us, if they do, if they really are aliens, that would be the answer. Like there's probably a shepherding. There's probably a natural course that happens with intelligent life where it develops this power while it's still a territorial tribal animal. and it's still got these barbaric instincts. It still engages in war. It still engages in theft and deception, and all while about to break through to the next level of intelligence and capability, which may exist, which may be in the entire universe.
Yeah, I think that all civilizations in the galaxy probably go through the same basic stages. That first they use rocks and stones to settle differences, but then eventually they begin to understand chemistry and substances and properties of materials, and then beyond that they discover atoms and the ability to manipulate atoms. I think normal progression, and I think that progression is now hitting the computer industry. Now we're going from microchips to quantum computers, and I think that the aliens in outer space probably went through that phase maybe thousands of years ago, in which they used the quantum computers to cure cancer, cure aging, diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. These are diseases at the molecular level. And they've been able to probably use what is called CRISPR technology to cut up DNA, to cut up proteins in order to cure many of these diseases, in which case they may be immortal.
There's a famous quote from, I think it was Einstein, where he said, I don't know what World War III will be fought with, what World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones. Do you ever warn you? And that a lot of people saw things, particularly off of Catalina.
Well, that area.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure.
What do you think that's about?
Don't know. You look locationally?
Yeah.
It's about, I don't know, that's an interesting area of the world. There are some places that seem to have higher activity of these UFOs.
Do you think maybe one of the explanations would be that Catalina is off the coast of California and that they use the water as like a place where they have a base or where they meet or where they
A fueling station or something.
Whatever.
Or maybe just this place, man.
Yeah, or a place completely avoid detection.
Yeah. I was told a long time ago by an admiral that I trust, like family, that this is important to look into, that there's meat on the bone, and that every branch of our military studies this current day, and this was 10 years ago having this conversation. I was asking him, should I waste my time on this little guy? Like, you know,
right,
that's
right.
Specifically, because this is a person that would know.
Right.
Let's leave it at that, right? And it took a while for the person to really answer me. You know, like they let me into some cool places to check out just because I had fascination about this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some military stuff. They let me come see stuff because I had fascination. Not UFO stuff, just general stuff.
Right.
And the person we're talking about ended up saying to me, it's worth your time specifically to look into Lazar. It's worth your time. And this is somebody that has stopped me from wasting my time on other ideas, right? And this person also said to me that there's more activity under the water than there is in the air with these UFO things. If that's true, I said, how the fuck am I going to research that? I got a submarine. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
What am I supposed to do?
Right.
With that information, thanks. He's like, you ever seen the movie The Abyss? I'm like, yeah. He's like, it's...
Oh.
I mean,
the movie The Abyss was fascinating, right? Because that opened up people's ideas to the idea, or opened up people's minds to the idea that there could be a spaceship in the water and aliens in the water.
Yeah.
And that, of course, like, you would have no idea that they were there.
Right.
The Abyss is great to the ending. The ending is like kind of...
I don't remember
kind of hokey.
The ending.
The ending's like, why are you showing me so much?
I'm just glad. Contact again.
Contact's great.
Have you watched that recently?
Yeah, I watched it a couple years ago. I think I watched it during the pandemic when the first started. Watched it again.
I love that movie, man.
It's a great movie.
Since it came out, probably, right? And I watched it the other week. It's that thing where the rest of the world doesn't experience what that person experiences. So Jodie Foster, right? She dropped, is that her name? And she dropped down in that thing.
Mm-hmm.
I remember they put a chair in it and the chair started going crazy because it wasn't designed that way.
Right.
And she gets out of it and the chair smashes against it. For her, she had this whole experience. You know, whatever, number of hours, 22 hours. The rest of the world just saw.
Yeah.
Not even.
Yeah.
That's your interdimensional theory right there. The idea that there's popping into timelines.
Yeah.
Across space and time.
Well, if you were an incredibly advanced being, you know, if you think about the human race, if the human race doesn't blow itself up and we move on and continue to advance for another 1,000,000 years, you would assume that we would have the ability to do all kinds of things that are just science fiction now. And one of them might be interdimensional travel, access to realms that are previously unseen that we just don't understand because we're just too primitive.
It was preposterous to fly like a bird at the time.
Yeah.
Now
It was
we're up in-
preposterous to go on a train. They thought if you go on a train more than 5 miles an hour, your body would liquefy or something. They thought you would die.
And
Yeah.
to put people up in the air, right?
Yeah.
Just,
Crazy.
I mean, it's all
Yeah.
crazy until it's science fiction until it's science fact, man.
Right.
So maybe what we're witnessing is just nature. See, that's my whole thing with this UFO thing is if this is just nature, if this is part of the ecosystem of the world we live in,
Right.
where just like UFOs are part of our reality. There's nothing we can do about that anymore. That has been determined. You've been told. Disclosure in that sense has already been done. You've been told UFOs are real. It's just like, what does that mean for us? In how large of an ecosystem is this that we're dealing with? Isn't that just nature? Like before, we thought there were monsters in the ocean. You said that before. We thought
Right.
there was monsters in the ocean. Now we got names for them. Maybe what we're seeing is just a part of nature that we are just becoming aware of, just like a Copernican revolution for whatever.
Right. That there are entities and there are life forms that are far more advanced than us,
Yeah.
and that they've always been here.
The UFO mystery or puzzle might represent something more than just physical machines from other intelligent entities. You know,
Yeah.
there might be something bigger going on.
Like what?
Well, I don't know, like as if it's being presented that way to us to almost like educate us or teach us something. I would hope that. I think that's a cool theory.
So they're allowing us to formulate new thoughts based on these experiences in contact
Right.
and sightings.
I mean, it's an altruistic way of looking at it, but
Right.
if I was like this hyper-intelligent species, whether being here on Earth or just being here a long time, maybe I got stuck here,
Right.
or I'm from somewhere else, bringing people, adapting people to your presence and helping an evolution, a technological evolution. These craft that like crash, like maybe that's to inspire the leap for us.
Mm.
I mean, I don't know. Defense people would be like, Jeremy, that's bullshit. Prepping the battlefield. We're fucked. We need to find out their intent.
Yeah.
It's a different perspective.
But it's also, they seem, well, you would know this. Because I said this before, I want to make sure it's true. The sightings picked up in a big way after they dropped the bombs.
Yeah, fact.
Yeah, so after Hiroshima and Nagasaki, that's when all the sightings started happening.
Well, even the development.
So during the Manhattan Project,
Yeah, during the development. But
the Trinity.
UFOs have always been part of the human experience. Let's not forget that.
Right.
But it is.
We don't know what those people are doing, right? When they
Right.
talk about the Vimanas and the
Shields of fire in the
Rig
sky.
Veda, yeah.
We don't know what they're seeing. How could
The
we?
Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, there's in so many different, like Ezekiel, right,
Yeah.
in the Bible,
Yeah.
a wheel within a wheel.
It's all interpreted.
Ezekiel's like, well, what?
I don't know. But people are in
Right. There
things in
seems
the
some-
sky
yeah.
seem to be machines. I mean, no matter what, they describe that.
There's also ancient depictions and paintings of what looks like people in spacecrafts flying around.
I've got one of the first posts I ever did on my website is like an image of a painting from pre-flight days, and it shows this fucking disc, and it's shooting down light onto like John the Baptist or something. I don't know.
Right.
Dude, artists will sometimes paint what they seen and put it in historical context. The shit's haunting, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
what we're seeing today has been seen before. Again, I've got an article from 1960 where there's cubes in spheres that fighter pilots see.
Ooh, where's that article?
I'll just give you, I had to get it from somebody, but
Do you have a copy on
yeah,
your
yeah,
phone?
I got it right here.
Get it and get it to Jamie.
Yeah, yeah, it's cool. It's just words. They just, they tell you what the pilot saw.
But still, the fact that from the 1960s they have this
That's what I'm saying.
same thing that they saw that
What's
it's
your
and it's
AirDrop?
oh sorry, let me open mine up.
Jamie's MacBook Pro?
Yeah, you can do that. That'll work. What's crazy too is that for whatever reason, they seem to go to specific areas. Like you were saying that the cube with the sphere Here it is. 2 identified pilots, one flying a Frontier Airlines plane, the other a military jet, reportedly spotted the object. The FAA at Grand Junction said the objects appeared to be spherical and enclosing a square object. The lights alternatively flashing the different colors appeared to emanate from the square object within the sphere. The FAA spokesman here declined to comment further on it. And then go all the way up, Jimmy, so we can see what year this is, what time the... So this is the Alamogordo, New Mexico, Thursday, September 29th, 1960. Wild.
Yeah, man.
That's wild.
An online sleuth found this for me.
UFO flashes colored lights on the heels of the green and bright orange unidentified flying object spotted in the Alamogordo skies Sunday night and early Monday morning. A flashing red, white, and green UFO has now been spotted in several New Mexico and Colorado cities.
Which, by the way, red, white, and green were like, oh, that's FAA lights on the stuff I released. And I'm like, really, bitch? I'm like, okay, well, look, they were doing red, white, and green back in 1960 when fucking cubes were flying around and, you know?
That is so wild. It's the exact same description.
Yes.
A cube encased in a circle.
I don't even think, I've told the pilots about this. I don't know why I've just never shared this with them. They should probably know. They know now.
Yeah.
Should show them. It's
1960.
cool. Yeah, man. Safety of flight issues. Cubes
Yeah.
again. 1960.
That's crazy. That's really wild, man. Really wild.
Why are you interested in UFOs?
Well, I guess I've always been. I think everybody is. Most people. If you thought they were real, you know, the people that aren't interested in them, they're not interested in them because they think it's nonsense. But if they really thought there's a strong potential for it to be real, I don't know how you could not be fascinated. That's why, like, I had that argument with Neil deGrasse Tyson about it. Like, why would they care about us? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? We go study slugs. You know, we study spores and microbes. Why wouldn't they study territorial apes with thermonuclear weapons? Like, why wouldn't they study that? Of course they would.
Why isn't he salivating over the fact?
He's an odd guy.
Okay.
I don't know what the fuck is going on in his mind. I really don't. He was mocking people for being interested in the eclipse. Yeah. And everybody was giving him shit online. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, you're literally the guy that's, like, telling everybody to look at the cosmos.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
like, what are you doing?
It's your inconsistency that I've yet to understand.
Maybe he's troubled. Maybe he's not happy. I don't know. I mean, he generally has so much joy when it comes to science. It's like the inconsistency is confusing to me. And the idea that they wouldn't be interested in us is, to me, preposterous. We would be, if we found something like us somewhere else, we would be so fast. If we found frogs on Mars, just frogs.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, if you believe the messaging that people talk about, like I'm friends with these 2 ladies. They were at the aerial school, and they, you know, that's where the craft landed, and like a bunch of kids, 60 kids or something, they see it. John Mack went and studied it, all this stuff. So that the 2 females that I know that were there, closest proximity to what they said was a being that came out, they're like, we were mesmerized by it. Like, looking in the eyes of this thing, they were mesmerized by it, was the words. And it put these images in their head, which at the time didn't mean anything much to them. It was like destruction of the earth, like this whole thing. But talking to them now, they're like, maybe we're supposed to talk about this. It's still with them, like what they saw, believe their story or not. They believe it, I'll tell you that much. You know, that they got these visual messages, and I've heard this over and over and over. I wonder what they're up to, these fucking weird things, man. Putting ideas into people's heads, man.
Is this that painting you said?
Yeah, that's the one.
So it's called the Baptism of Christ.
Look at the year.
1710.
So that thing in the sky, this circular object that's showing beams of light that shoot down on the baptism of Christ. Can you zoom in on the object? Yeah, what is that?
1710.
That is wild. I mean, what do you think they were trying to show? It's
Well,
hard to say, but it's illuminating one very specific area on the ground, much like Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Well, I'm just, everything else in that painting doesn't look interpretive, right? Like the
Right.
people look like people. It's not a Salvador Dali painting.
Right.
So I'm going to make the assumption that in this style of painting, you're drawing this idea of what is there. So I would have to think maybe this person who painted this, maybe they've seen something like that before.
Or that's like their version of showing the power of God without showing God. I
Right.
mean, I could see that like a beam of light down to the sky from the heavens. I mean, they're not showing something that they're seeing because it's the baptism of Christ. They weren't there for that, right?
But I'm saying that they're drawing something. People look like
realistic.
people. It's realistic. So like, what is a disc?
Yeah.
It's just I have no idea. It's just fascinating.
Yeah.
In ancient artwork, that you've got these things that look like this.
Why? I'll turn the question on you. Why are you so interested in UFOs?
I don't fucking know, dude. I think that's funny.
It is kind of funny because we both don't have a real answer.
I haven't really figured that out.
No one does. I mean,
I like to hunt.
Right, the chase is
That
fascinating.
people will
right?
talk to me, get to sit in
Yeah.
these rooms, and I get to be on these phones. Dude, the wonder, bro.
Yeah, the wonder is really intense.
I almost don't want to figure this shit out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. Well, I kind of do want to, but then maybe the mystique will be all gone. Then we'll feel terrified.
Right. They're
Because-
just space whales, and they're turd.
Well, no, I don't think so. I think the idea would be that we're lab rats.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what's scary to me, is that somehow or another we're being examined. And we are such a preposterous yet super advanced civilization. I mean, we're governed by politicians that are clearly corrupt and also full of shit. We allow those same people to control various aspects of the way we interact with other governments that could lead to mass deaths and often do. It's really wild. Like when you think about what we're doing, we use coal-powered plants to power supposedly zero-emission electric cars. It's like, are you fucking crazy? That's, and then we're terrified of nuclear power, which is probably the cleanest, safest form of power that we've ever devised. Like, we're weird. We're weird across the board.
Every country has this UFO thing.
Yeah? What country embraced it the most openly, publicly?
U.S.
The U.S.
Oh, no, openly and publicly. I don't know. France has been really good about it. Brazil. Even Chinese were saying there's so much data that they're analyzing AI to help aggregate the data.
Brazil had famous crashes, right?
Yeah.
And out of those, some metal evidence was retrieved, correct?
How you say it, Virginia is where the being came out, and someone got real sick from it all. Yeah, look, but there have been crashes in many of the country, many of the main countries that like we'd consider technologically advanced or whatever. Mm-hmm. So like Russia as well. Like George Knapp, remember he obtained and got out from Russia a bunch of the classified documents from the Russian UFO program. And he went and talked with people there. He went twice during Glasnost and Perestroika. And these are the people that ran the UFO programs. And inside those documents, which he's had translated now, right, they tell that they were trying to, reverse engineer laser technology, that they knew we had UFO retrieval programs, that they knew that, some of our programs were doing UFOs. Like all of this is what George Knapp got that out of Russia at a time when he could have been arrested for bringing that shit out in the airport, right? Every major country has interest and a stake in this because I think people want a technological advantage, man. If they can ascertain anything from this, they got a fucking technological advantage. If Russia had anything, they'd be using it right now too. That's the thing. If we had a really great weapon caused, from the evil stuff, but other legislative people from other countries have reached out to me saying that they want to replicate what the U.S. is doing in their country.
So the U.S. doing it most openly now?
Right now, I would say that is a statement. I mean, fast and hard. This language in the UFO language in the National Authorization Defense Authorization Act of 2023, UFO whistleblower language. No one's done this before.
So assuming Bob was telling the truth,
Yeah.
and Bob Lazar is telling the truth, that means that Area S4 housed multiple
Yes.
off-world crafts.
Yep.
If that's the case, where are those things now?
I don't know. I bet you they fucking moved those out the second Bob opened his big ass mouth.
Where would their site like that, but it's still remaining top secret? And isn't that increasingly difficult to do with satellite technology?
Facilities that are not, we can keep secrets. We can, our government can keep secrets.
Are some top secret facilities that, like Area 51 used to be speculative, right? It was speculative until they had to acquire more land and make more land top secret around the outside of it. So they had to admit that it was there, right?
Yeah.
Because too many people were
Land grab.
visiting.
Too many people.
How much of a factor do you think you and I had in the Storm Area 51 movement?
I'm gonna say zero. Dude, the kid watched the movie, watched your podcast, and just went up and threw that shit up online. I was doing damage control, man. I mean, I got some angles calls, like, "Are you gonna cause problems?" kind of shit. And I'm
Right.
like, "No, I'm gonna go manage it, man."
Yeah,
Just
don't
go out
go.
there.
Don't go every.
People that want to dog me is most well known for the debacle of the Storm 51 thing. I didn't have nothing to do with that.
Nothing. But
Nothing.
I meant in terms of, like, influencing it.
100%. Is that okay to say? Because that's the truth. Fuck.
Yeah. Those conversations we had, I think, with Bob Lazar in particular, really filled people's minds with imagination.
But look at that. And by the way, it was fun. People were really calm and nice. There were some bad actors, like people trying to stir me up.
Right.
Are you gonna
That's
go
always
raid
gonna
those
be-
gates? No, I think they were like actual
Probably
fucking
feds.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like the people that are telling people to storm the Capitol. Get your zip ties. Let's get in there and find Pelosi.
Creepy.
Yeah.
I got that evil bad feeling where I thought something bad was going to happen.
I think anytime there's any kind of an organization, someone from the federal government infiltrates it and tries to get them to do something fucked up.
Right.
So that they can invade
Yeah.
and then take people down and arrest them. I just think that's how they operate.
But it was kind of beautiful, though, to see people be able to get close to this like super secret gate that
Yeah.
normally you'd be thrown on the ground in front of. And what are you doing here? And they were like, there was like a whole welcoming committee. They're
Really?
Like, oh, yeah. Yeah. I was standing up there. I got footage of it, man. Just
Who was the
agencies plain clothed. Like they made sure not to cross that line. But as long as you don't even think about that, it was all hugs and high fives and let's
Really?
take photos. Yeah, I got photos of people there right at the and they're just all and then some people recognized me as one of the people that might have like,
Right,
like that. And
influenced
then it was like more selfies. It was so funny, dude.
Oh, that's hilarious.
They were super kind and I thought how cool. How cool is that they were like, no, we're just like we're cool today. You can be here
Right.
today.
Do you think they know anything?
Employees there?
Yeah.
I've talked to a lot of employees, like former employees, current employees, and it's so compartmentalized. But the one place, I don't think I should say this because then maybe they'll stop doing it, but the one place where the word on the wash is strong, as they say, the bar at 51.
There's a bar there?
Yeah, man. It's a little secret I keep in because I know the name and I know I can describe it. So if I get somebody
It's only
faking
the
me out,
military guys who go there and drink.
yes, you have to be on base. You have to be on
Right.
base. But it's always the bar, right, where people
Of
talk.
course.
So that's where all the rumors go. So Site 4, all that stuff, after talking maybe, 30, 40 people, current, past, all that stuff, people know that there's a facility at Papoose. They know that.
So if you think that they moved everything out of there when Bob started opening his mouth in the late 80s, is there any speculation as to where they would have moved it?
I have no speculation. Don't know they did move it. That's something George has said is like, oh, if it was there, it's gone now because
Where would you take it?
maybe you leave it right fucking there.
Right, no one's going there.
Nobody's going there. I actually, somebody that I've spoken with on record has gone there because they were just, they had access to, and the second they hit Papoose Dry Lake, like out of nowhere, civilian contractors with machine guns and black attire put him face down, and he's a Navy guy. He's a Navy guy with like a good access to the land of 51 because it's so compartmentalized. Usually you couldn't run around, but what he was doing, which it's not important, but he had access to more of the land.
Right.
He got fucking thrown on the ground. He became a believer that day. He's like, there is an installation. I just want you to know my story because he goes, I didn't see the exact thing. I didn't get that far. He goes, but if there was nothing there, where the people come from?
Right.
So you get anecdotal. I don't know, dude. Bob, he's so gangster. I don't know if people know this, but the U.S. would never sell satellite time to take photos of Papoose Lake in 1989, 1990. So he hired a Russian satellite to take photos.
Really?
He did.
He hired a. How does one even facilitate that?
The negatives, they're in L.A. and a buddy of his has them. I want the world to see them. They're pretty neat. They believe there's something there to be seen.
Still.
No, like in these satellites. Like it looks like.
Does Google Earth have pictures of Area S4?
I mean,
let's find out.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, people have taken planes and tried to come in. See, there's nothing there to see in the mountains. They've got planes close by with like long lens cameras. Are you fucking kidding me? If it says Lazar described, which by the way, I've had so many confirmations that there is a facility there like Bob described, right?
Right.
But if it was there, the whole point of it is to not be seen from the air.
Right.
That would be the whole point.
Right.
We have that in Switzerland too, by the way. We have like hillsides. And if you know what you're looking for when you fly in to Switzerland, you can see markings on the roads where the planes come out of hills that are completely disguised as foliage and that. The planes come out, taxi onto the roads and take off. And
from the roads.
And you can see, if you know what you're for, when you fly over Switzerland, you can see the markers.
So markers like where they're told to go through, or the markers
or like the
where
flight
the
takeoff,
planes,
landing. Yeah, where those planes would take off and land. So
like
they
the
know.
rubber where the tires hit. Like
Yeah. I think where they're going to land and then hide these planes back into these hills that are retractable.
Really?
Yeah, man. That's what I'm told.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll look into it.
We'll look into
it.
Got any?
Which one?
Area S4.
I'm looking for that. I mean,
Yeah.
you can see above it clearly.
Let's see what that looks like.
Well, I'm looking for pictures of it, but
So that's it?
no, I don't know. That's what I'm trying to. I don't think it is.
Where Area 51.
You actually
It's not
see it.
even new.
That's Area 51. You can actually see it on Google Maps.
Oh, yeah. Area 51, you can see a lot of the facility now.
And Area 51 is still active?
Yeah. Oh, big time.
This is claiming you can see a UFO from this picture, but this
Wow.
is 2010 or something.
Google Maps reveals secret base within 30-meter UFO with 30-meter UFO at Area 51 claims alien hunter. Where's that?
Claims alien hunter. So we got to look at sources here. What's going on?
I'm an alien hunter, bro.
Yeah, man. I hate it when people call me a UFO enthusiast. I'm fucking enthusiastic about waking up in the morning. Fucking.
I'm a UFO enthusiast.
You think that's
People
okay?
Call me that, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I'm enthusiastic.
That's their claim.
Well, that's about everything, though.
That's a UFO?
Yeah. So that's what these things I'm looking at. I'm like, I wouldn't even stop you guys to bring this up.
People
Okay,
are fucking
waste of
lewd.
time.
That's a goddamn building, you
So-
crackhead.
Yeah, here's the other thing I found just for clarity. It says you can. This is someone tagged area or S4 on Google Maps. Like when you Google this is what comes up, but they've just circled like parts
Yeah,
of
that's the
desert.
hillside where people suggest it was.
So
built in.
you can't really see anything from the sky.
Well, that would be the whole point of installations like this, which we do have.
Right.
According to this map, this says this is a picture from 2022. I don't know what day.
I don't see shit.
Right.
So they're just outlining the area where it would be, but you
I
really
don't
can't
know.
see
people
a damn
guessing
thing.
or something.
Huh.
Right,
But
right.
wouldn't there be roads that you could see?
It's on
Well,
the
so
edge of Papoose Lake.
so in the older footage, you can see right down to the lake, but that just means people drive down there.
And Papoose Lake is a dry lake bed, correct?
Right. So it's just south of Area 51. Area 51 is the box, right? So it is a designation within the Nellis base, and they're all numbered and labeled Papoose. So there's Area 51 proper with the runway. And then where Bob, would get on the bus is from Area 51. And I have people that saw him get on a bus and drive south and then, drive down to Papoose Lake.
And is there a road that leads to Papoose
There's two.
Lake?
So that one that goes along there.
That's a road.
There's a bunch
and
of
then
them. I mean, I
there's
don't
another one
know.
There. So there's
are
a
new.
real road out there. Wow.
Roads going a couple of different directions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just.
Fucking A. What is going on
I
out
don't know.
there?
That's new developments.
What is going on out there? All right.
All right, my friend.
Thank you very much for coming in here. It's always a pleasure. Great to talk to you. Thank you for sharing whatever information you have, and anything else, show me off air, and I won't tell anybody.
Okay. Well, thanks for keeping the topic alive, Joe.
Oh, listen, the topic is alive whether I keep it alive or not.
That's true.
It's something that more so now than I think any time in our lives.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
Exciting.
Something's about to happen.
Maybe. Oh, something?
No, I hope.
I want to talk to you about the story of the crystal skulls themselves, because there's this strange sort of folklore attached to them, and then there's a lot of people that believe that it's all horseshit and that these were created by modern people and buried underground in order to...
Well, my understanding of it is, there you go.
Cheers again.
Yeah, indeed. That's just the citrus model, the crystal driver. There were 13 heads, and it was purported that the Navajo, the Anasazi, the Mayans, the Aztec each had one. The most famous one is the Mitchell Hedges skull, which was found in the Yucatan by Anna Mitchell Hedges. She reached into a cave. She was with her grandfather, and it was around 1926, and she reached in, and there was an oilcloth covered item in there, and she pulled it out and opened it up, and there was the two-piece detachable jaw Mitchell Hedges skull. Beautiful skull. The Hewlett-Packard engineers did a test on it in the 60s. They said it could not have been carved by a lapidary, by tools. It had to have been polished over hundreds of years, over centuries, to get to the shape that it was. So they said it was a polished item. Let's see. There's the Mitchell Hedges skull, the Phyllis Newman skull named Max. She says,
was it later decided by some people that this was not the case?
I'm gonna get to that point, because of course it's important. It doesn't affect my business whether they're fake or not. These were beautiful artifacts, and we've recreated it beautifully. But it's nice to know the true story, and I have a kind of a thought on the theory either way. So there's the Phyllis Newman skull named Max. She has to put it in the closet because it talks to her. There's one.
Wait. Hit the brakes.
Phyllis,
I'm gonna have to hit the brakes a bunch with you. You're an excellent talker, sir.
Oh well, inoculated with a gramophone needle at birth. I could talk a taxi dispatcher into a vow of silence. I could talk an air raid siren to scrap. But
and you're obviously Canadian because you said slag.
Yeah, there you go.
I see Canadian gal. She loved that term.
Oh, so that's another tangent. Canadian gals and Canadian guys. So the Philip Newman skull, she got it. Its name is Max. She has to put it in the closet because it talks to her, she said. So there's the Mitchell Hedges.
Has it?
Yes, she does. Phyllis has that one. Then there's the Mitchell Hedges skull that's in Indiana. The man that took care of Anna at the end of her life eventually had it and got it. It sat in Grafton, Ontario for many years, and I never saw it, but people said when they walked into the room and she uncovered it with the cloth she kept it in, that there was an immediate feeling of well-being and healing coming over to look at the original Mitchell Hedges skull. There's one in Mexico City. It's one of our minis. It's got a cross stuck right in the top of it, which is, that would shatter a crystal if you did that. How that cross got there, I don't know. There's one at the Smithsonian in Washington, two at the Smithsonian, Washington, D.C., and one at the Victoria and Albert Museum. So there's supposed to be 8 that we have and 5 that we're missing. The woman at the Smithsonian who has the 2 there, I think they're a cloudy orange one and a cloudy green one, and they're smaller. She says they're all fakes, that they were carved by a German lapidary in the 1800s, and that he seeded them around the world. Well, wait a minute. I think one was found in Tibet. One was found in Ohio, we're hearing, at the Serpent Mounds.
Why does she think this one gentleman did it?
Because he was an expert lapidary. He had the tools to do it. And she figures, her theory is that they're not artifacts polished by tribal hands and passed down, that they're all fakes. But it's just, wait a minute, he would have had to have had an airship to go and deposit these wherever they might be around the world. You can get pictures of the skulls up, the Smithsonian crystal heads, and the Smithsonian crystal heads you can get in Victoria Albert crystal head.
Do they all have the same similar type of markings?
There's theirs. Yes, they do. They do. They all have the same. Now, you see, some of them are more are clearer. See, there's one at the British Museum. And there's some that are clearer and are more beautiful, and there's some that are rougher, like that one there, and the green and the orange one. But she says all fakes. But if they're all fakes, how did they get to these different places around the world, and how were they found?
Well, here's the thing. But why fake? The word fake is very strange, because it's like they are certainly real carved crystal skulls.
But were they from tribal ancestors?
Right. Who made them is the question.
Who made them?
From modern Western
and
people.
How? Were they polished or were they carved? That's the thing. Aren't they beautiful? Oh, God.
What do the indigenous people say? They say they found them?
The Navajo say they came star children, that they were brought down and deposited and given to them as crystal ball devices, scrying devices to.
What's that one down there, Jamie? Keep scrolling where you were.
The green
one on
is
the left,
beautiful.
The one on the left right there that looks almost like a real. Oh, it is a real screen.
Yeah, no, the green is beautiful. So I guess, I don't know, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a professional historian. I guess I have to trust the lady at the Smithsonian, but then I question, they were found at different times in history around the world. How do you go and seed? How do you deposit them there?
Why does she believe that? Has she given a coherent reason why she thinks that they're all hoaxes?
I guess she's done her analysis, whatever, to their skulls. But again, the Hewlett-Packard engineers took that Mitchell skull and they said this have not have been polished. It would have been cracked or destroyed. It could not have been built by tools. It would have been cracked or destroyed. It had to have been polished. Yeah.
So, but what about some sort of a very fast-moving drill with a diamond bit on it that can slowly grind down?
Well, then there'd be marks that would be visible under the scanner.
Couldn't you pop?
I think that the intensity of the Hewlett-Packard scrutiny revealed that there were none of those marks, and that's why they were able to make their claim.
Here's the problem with this: is like want them to be real, right? Don't you?
Oh, yeah, I love
me too.
the legend.
I do too. I do too. But I don't. It's me.
No, neither do I.
So
that's why I say openly.
When you want to believe you, I want them to be from the sky people.
I do too, but again, you've got a professional in Washington at our National Museum there who says no, they're not.
Yeah, but what does she know?
Well, we could
might be
forget
one
her
of
name.
them
We should get her
poopers.
on the phone.
She might be a party pooper.
Well, I think that she's in love with the skulls, even though they are not polished in her mind. I bet she loves them as much as we do.
But the thing is, if you are a professional intellectual or someone who's a curator of fine artwork and ancient relics, you kind of have to be one of those people that dismisses anything preposterous. Because if not...
That's right, like Neil Tyson. Don't you love him? No way you can sit down and say, Neil, Barney and Betty Hill were by a flying saucer in 1957. He's not going to accept that. Because he can't accept that. Because everything in his training, everything in his knowledge, everything that he knows about physics and science and propulsion in the universe and how to get from place to place defies the legend, or I would say defies the theory that there are extraterrestrial advanced ships out there. He can't. It's just, it would be unprofessional for him to say, okay, there's even a possibility that there were abductions. But
the Barney Hill story is very interesting, but there's no real evidence other than their testimony. Is that correct?
Well, there was a stain on Betty's dress. There's her excellent roll. He was unconscious.
What was this, her dress is so interesting.
It was a fluid that they used in the testing. That kind of a fluid,
the
a chemical
alien testing
that they did when they drew over her and they drew sperm from him. Now, so there's a book, Contact by Stanton Friedman.
I read that.
And Kathleen. I'd love to know where the car is. Where the Chevy they were driving.
Oh, it disappeared?
Where is that? I don't know. I'd have to ask Kathleen where it is. Did it end up in a junkyard? Because there were marks on the back of the car as well. There were trace evidence in the back of the car. You know, Ted Phillips is. He goes around the world collecting trace evidence and radioactive signatures from sightings and landings. On the back of the car, there was a couple of marks, but it was Betty's. It's their credibility. Why would they want to bring this into their lives? And she was conscious. Semi-conscious through much of it, and Barney was not conscious. He was unconscious. If you hear the tapes of Ben Simon's interviews with them under hypnosis, the screaming and he was just so frightened.
Yeah.
And the Zeta Reticuli map, when the being Betty looked at the map and the being showed her a map as she was on her way out the door, and she said, "May I take this?" And the being was going to give it to her, but then another one zipped up and said, "No. You can't have this."
Zeta Reticuli is exactly the same place where Bob Lazar says they found those with the spaceships that they have at Area or S4.
Little Grays, Zeta Reticuli, Barney and Betty's abduction. You had Marjorie Fish, an amateur astronomer. She took the memory of Betty's. Betty drew up the star map, and she did a three-dimensional scale model of that part of the universe, and was able to identify Zeta Reticuli too, and accepted by astronomers. So that map that Betty saw aboard that ship had not been seen on Earth before.
And Betty has no history of astronomy, or no studying it.
No, none at all. And interesting things like when they got back to the house, the house was open, and the keys to the house were on the table with leaves, so that they might have dropped them at the site, and the beings returned them. Now, you know who Bud Hopkins was? He said that since he studied the Linda Cortile case, where the woman was floated out of her apartment building over the East River, and Orange Orb picked her up.
Tell
plunged
people
into
he was the guy.
Bud was he was a graphic artist, he was a designer, a painter, and a lovely man, and he was one of the first people to start to deal with the trauma of abductees. He got a reputation for being able to interview them, hypnotize them, interview them, and get their stories and empathize and sympathize with them. He said that in some cases that he studied, the beings would grab a man from somewhere in America and grab a woman and out of their cars, out of their clothes, put them up, test them, draw ova, draw sperm, fluids, whatever they were doing. And then the woman would wake up in the man's shoes or a different car, or almost as if after the beings were finished with them, I don't care where they go now. Yeah, put them back, that kind of thing. He said that was the oddest phenomena.
That's right. If
I
you
think that's
you catch a big rainbow trout and you're fly fishing and you got a barbless hook, most people, if you go to Montana, go to the Gallatin River, shout out to the Gallatin.
Beautiful.
Gorgeous place. People catch and release because they appreciate that the trout are there. They'd rather go buy halibut from a store and not eat the fish because they want the salmon to be healthy. They want the trout to be healthy.
Well,
so they catch them. And then they release them. But if you're a brown trout, brown trout are invasive. But if you're a rainbow trout, and someone catches you, and they take you on some 200-yard run down this river as they're trying to draw you in. It's a big 9-pound rainbow, catch of a lifetime,
Beautiful
right?
time.
And some guy pulls it on, takes pictures of it, shows it, and then releases it. And then this thing's like, how the fuck did I get here? What am I doing outside of my universe?
Yeah.
What am I doing in this other dimension of air where I can't breathe?
Precisely. Yeah, and that's catch and
Catch
release.
and release with people.
Travis Walton says, you got to think of them as just people from over there. They're just
he's
people
the
from
guy
over
the
there.
Sky movie was based on. He's got another interesting story. Here's what I want people
credibility
to think.
and credibility with Barney and Betty. I just don't think they're lying. And I
Well,
don't think the Ariel school children are lying.
I don't want to think they're lying. This is the problem that I have with it. I want to believe them. But this is what I want people to consider, because most people that are pragmatic, reasonable people that don't want to be ridiculed, they look at these stories and they go, oh, come on, people are full of shit. And I've been there too. But I want people to imagine that if aliens did occasionally visit Earth, how often do you think this would take place? And how it would be very infrequently. And if it was happening, these would be completely unique, unusual occurrences out of nowhere where someone would come down, they would do something, and they would be leaving the person with this thought and this memory and this inability to describe it with normal words. If you were taken aboard a spaceship and you were some reptilian beings that were 3 feet tall were running experiments on you and you were paralyzed, and then they released you back on Earth, what words do you have available to you to describe this experience in a way that, if you tell me, hey, Joe, I went whitewater rafting with my kids. It was a great time. It was so fun. We got to see eagles, and it was gorgeous. And then we had lunch at this beautiful little cafe. What a great day. I can envision this experience. I can see it. But if you tell me, hey, man, we went camping, and I woke up, and some alien had a finger in my ass.
The Allagash incident, they went camping, and they disappeared.
Quite a those, right?
There's hundreds of thousands. And here, I brought you a book. This is Bruce Maccabee's book. It's all the headlines from 1952, 432 reports given. And I'll address your specific question about people, how they relate their experience and how genuine they feel in a second here. 432 reports given the Air Force in 1952 on aerial sightings, ships from the planet. We've got memos from the government here. A former Army pilot sees flying saucer by daylight, whatever was cited here. July 30 stories, fighter pilots at Newcastle say alert for more saucer reports. These are newspaper.
Yeah.
That's yours.
Well, numbers never lie.
Well,
I don't know if you know that.
Well,
they never make fake stories.
Well,
they never talk shit about people.
The New York Times is pretty reliable. Ralph Blumenthal and Leslie Keene are reporters for the New York Times, and they've been studying this phenomenon. They report very credibly on it. I'll tell you how an abductee's experience is related. I attended a lecture at the Fifth Avenue Medical Institute in Manhattan with my wife a few years ago. That would be about 15 years ago. And John Mack was the lecturer. He wrote the book Abduction. He was the Harvard psychiatrist who wrote Abduction. You can get that up too, John Mack.
Yes, I read that as well.
Yeah, and
that freaked a friend of mine out. She was a very pragmatic, non-UFO believing person, and we were working together on news radio. My friend Maura Tierney. And she came up to me and she goes this book is freaking me the fuck out. And he wrote a second book as well. Didn't he die in a car accident?
John Mack
I believe he died in a car accident.
stepped off in a small in England, and he was struck by a car.
Yeah.
And 3 other John Macks died the same day in England.
So you think people were whacking John Mack
Well,
too much?
I don't know.
Let's take
Again,
them all out.
I was at this lecture, and there were 300 abductees there. That some who he'd interviewed with, some not, but who were there for interested to find out a bit more about their experience. And one guy got up and said he had one arm, and I don't know whether that was related. I don't think it was related to the experience, but he said, "I'm a Wall Street broker. I'm quite well off a sailboat. I was in Long Island Sound a few years ago, and a blue light hit me, and I had missing time of about 5 or 6 hours. But in it, I have filtrated memories of beings addressing me and telling me that I was powerful and influential and I helped the planet survive. And they put me back in my ship, and I woke up, and he said, I'm waiting for them to come back. I want them back." And I asked the room, I got up and I said, of all of you who've been taken, how many of you would want to repeat the experience or have it happen again? And about half of them said, no way they'd want to have it happen again. And half said, yeah, we'd like it to happen again.
Yeah.
Half, yeah.
Now, I love a
So
good
Bruce signed this to me, and
anecdotal-
I'm going to give it to you. And
Oh,
it's
thank
just got great. It's got great headlines from the 50s, which massive time for saucers. You know that famous photo of the saucers over the Capitol, the glowing lights, and yeah.
See if you can find that photo, Jimmy, because it is quite interesting.
July 1952, Washington
Do you
sightings.
think this was initiated by the detonation of the atomic bombs at Hiroshima and Nagasaki, where they decided, oh, these fucking monkeys are doing some stupid shit. We need to go down there and see what's up and see if there's imminent danger to the cosmos. Let's find out what kind of capabilities they have. Because if you listen to Lazar, or if you believe the work of Zecharia Sitchin, or any of the people that believe that human beings were engineered, that there's the reason why there's this giant leap between us and the rest of the primates on the planet is because something came down and manipulated our genetics.
Well, the movie Mission to Mars with Tim Robbins, basically it says that. Basically, it shows the face on Mars, and that is one of NASA employees' favorite movies. Yeah, there they are. Yeah. 1952 UFO incident. Thank you very much.
Look at that photo. That is a crazy
beautiful
photo.
Come on, let's go here now,
That's crazy.
folks. Yeah, that ain't an airplane. That ain't a helicopter.
No, it's a crazy photograph, and it's from 1952. I mean, the special effects back then were incredibly crude.
No,
this was something that was reported by
Thousand people.
people.
They scrambled jets from Andrews for it and everything.
as well as the lights.
The Phoenix is fascinating because the Fife Symington, the governor, said he saw them. He made fun of it with an alien.
But he
dummy.
talked about afterwards.
Yeah.
He was put under pressure to do so.
Yeah.
He's in a movie called, what is it? There's a documentary on Netflix that's available that he's in. That he talks about the pressure that they put on him to make light of that incident, and he talks about his own personal experiences with seeing some sort of triangle-shaped craft that was enormous, the size of several football fields. It was flying overhead, that was completely silent, and how it freaked him out. I think
The triangle and delta crafts are very, very interesting. But the Tinley Park incidents of the 80s, and with Saranto was the investigator there from MUFON, these things would park over the family barbecue for about half an hour, and families in suburbs were looking up at the sky being blotted out by these things parking above them. So, I think it comes down to. I don't think these beings. Lord Hill Norton said there were 23 different species visiting the planet in 23 different types of ships. I don't think they want a formal relationship with people on Earth. They want an informal, secret relationship. I think they probably have one with elements of black elements of the Air Force and the government. You know who David Sarita is? Have him on. He's very knowledgeable about this. His theory is that the Roswell event may have been precipitated by the Trinity explosion because there was such an interdimensional disturbance of the atoms being split and that explosion. There was that saucer there that went down in 47 may have been influenced somehow negatively by that explosion. Now, Stanton Friedman didn't buy that. I loved Stanton. He just passed away there. He was the expert on Roswell.
Yeah, I'm up that I never got to meet him before he died.
He was so credible.
An interesting guy who believed in UFOs, but believed most people were lying about them.
Really?
Yeah. Well, he believed that there was a lot of horse shit going on, including Bob Lazar. He thought Bob Lazar was full of shit.
Why would Bob go out there and do and compromise his life?
Well, let me tell you something. After him for 3 hours and then
Incredible.
having dinner with him the night before, I used to believe I had the best bullshit meter in the world, but as I've gotten older, I've gotten more honest. I I didn't see anything. He's an incredibly smart guy, and he's not a guy who's like seeking out attention, and he's not profiting from this. And in fact,
just his demeanor, everything. Jeez, he's like an accountant.
He's a legitimate scientist.
Yeah.
And I've talked to him. One of the things that I engaged him with when we had dinner, we talked about science, just science in general, and we talked about all sorts of different things. And he's a scientist. He's a legit scientist. I've talked to a lot of them.
Yeah,
I know what kind of person he is.
And they just again there. They rated his nuclear
115. That's what they think.
Wouldn't love to have that.
Yeah, that's what they think. Some artist created that thing up there with element 115. And,
element 115, indeed. Well, if you get a little sliver of that, that would be pretty exciting. Yeah.
He talked openly about it in the 90s that he had managed to weasel some away from the Area S4, and they think that he still has it.
Yeah.
But there were some experiments that he had done that George Knapp had actually filmed that had showed some really bizarre distortions using this stuff, and then it was able to. I got to remember exactly what it did that they showed, but they did some experiments with like steam or smoke or something like that, where they showed element 115 emitting some sort of
vapor.
Well, no, it was emitting some sort of a field.
Where
you literally couldn't physically touch this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw Gleason, Gleason was what I want to be. I just thought Jackie Gleason was just amazing, you know. And I said, I want to be like that guy, you know, because he was incredible. And it was, people didn't realize he was a stand-up, you know.
I didn't know Gleason did.
Oh yeah,
really?
2-ton Tony Galenta was give shit, and
the boxer,
and Gleason heckled him and knocked him out.
Jesus.
Oh yeah, he was incredible, you know. Because I met Art Carney.
You know, Jackie was obsessed with UFOs. Did you know that?
Nah, but I kind of dig it too, man.
There's a story. This guy told it to me. Some guy was a rock band dude. He told me the story, and I don't know if it's true. But the story was that Gleason was friends with Nixon, and Nixon said, "You want to see some shit?" And Nixon took him to
Area 51.
I don't think it was Area 51. I think it was Hangar 18, which is a Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, and I think it was outside of Columbus, Ohio, and they supposedly had some fucking crashed UFO there. And Gleason built a replica of it, or had a replica of it built in his fucking backyard in New York.
Wow.
They went to the Homestead Air Force Base outside of Miami, it says.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
There you go.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I got a bullshit version of it. Pull up the actual version. Where are you getting this from?
I just Googled it. I mean, it's a rumored story, so I don't know if it's...
Yeah, that's how I got it. I got it from a guy in a band. It might be bullshit, but he gave me some book on UFOs. He was telling me about this, but that Jackie Gleason apparently was obsessed with UFOs.
Well, I believe there's got to be something out there.
Yeah.
I don't. We're it. I mean, that's it.
No,
right?
I don't believe we're it.
I did a lot of USO shows, and I've been around the world, and I was every time I've done. I was off to Turkey someplace, and the commander of the base took me for dinner afterwards, and I got him drunk. I got him pretty sober at the time. I got him pretty drunk, and I said, "Hey, man," he goes, "Let me ask you about Area 51." He goes, he got stone sober. He goes, "This conversation never happened," and he left, and I had to take a cab to find my way back to a nuke base that no one knows about.
Jesus.
Right. So then I'm at the dunes. This is how long ago that was, and I'm with these guys who are in the Air Force. They said, "Man, we really like your show. We're fans of yours." But I got them drunk. And I said, "Hey, man, what about Area 51?" And they said, "Mr. Clark, good night." And they walked away. So now me and Mike are golfing with these Blue Angels. And he goes, "You're going to ask him?" I go, "No." The second you golf with them again, I go, "All right, fellas, tell me about Area 51. They go, "Well," he goes, "I was flying a plane, and I had malfunction, and I had to land there. And they came out, and they pretty much blindfolded me, took me into a building, and they fixed my jet in 35 minutes, and then put me back in the place. You were never here." And I went, "Oh my God!" So I don't know what's out there.
Yeah, but here's the thing. That was an area where they were testing all sorts of military equipment. They were testing different new, like that's where the B-2 or the stealth bomber.
Right.
They were testing that there.
And the spy plane.
Yeah, they were testing shit.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of secret stuff there.
Right.
Didn't necessarily have to be aliens.
I understand that, and I'm hoping that there is.
But he's still trying to.
But I'd love to go there, man. Oh man, but you can't even drive. If you drive up there, Joe, by the time you get your camera out, they're on you.
Yeah.
And tell you, well, get out of here. We'll lock you up. You know, it's not good. So
They don't even anymore. They've moved to a new area. They've actually, because it's so heavily scrutinized and because of Google Earth and all sorts of different ways you can see things, they've actually moved to another area.
Well, I read everything I could find about that too, and I think I read the book Area 51 it was a couple years ago, and basically at the end of the book it was like Hitler had these, his guys experimenting with the Jews and put their arms on different ways, and had an aircraft that looked like a spaceship, and it crashed. And these people came out with them crazy arms. And, well, they're aliens, and that was in the book, So that kind of shut the shit out of that.
I know that Hitler did experiment with some sort of disc type air vehicle. They did, but I don't know if they ever got it off the ground or what the deal was. But the most interesting story is the story of Bob Lazar, who was a guy who worked at Area 51, and he got fired because his wife was cheating on him. And they were recording all of his phone calls and taping all of his conversations, and they found out that his wife was cheating on him. They thought that he was going to be emotionally unstable. And so they didn't tell him why. They just released him. And so then he brings friends to watch these, what he said were alien crafts that they were experimenting with, and they were flying these things around that had some super advanced propulsion system that they were asking him to help back engineer, and he brought friends to do that, and then they got arrested for doing that. And when he did that, then he started talking about it. So he's been discredited by a bunch of people, but I don't know who's telling the truth. He says that they wiped his college record so that no one, but people said they went to school with him, and he definitely did work for the government, but under what capacity, who knows. But his story's fascinating, and I want it to be true. You hear it, you want it to be true.
Joe, they used to fly the team that worked at Area 51 from Burbank.
Yeah.
Every day, fly them in, they'd work, and then fly them back. It was like they didn't stay over.
There was that airport outside of Vegas. It was right outside where the Riviera was.
Yeah.
You could actually look out and see the airport. And they would fly the people from there in these unmarked jets.
Yeah, I want it to be true.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I want it to be true.
You must be. I mean, because you're here, right? You feel tremors. They happen, right? I've only had a few times when I felt
not all
tremors.
the time. I've felt them before. The first moved here. I first moved here in '94, right after the Northridge earthquake, and I was in, and I felt. I guess it was like a 5.5, where the whole thing. It was weird. It gave me the impression that the house that I was living in, or the apartment that I was in, was made out of the same stuff. Like a box that a refrigerator would come in.
Yeah.
You know how you kind of move it around?
Yeah, you can go and play inside. Yeah.
The whole thing was just moving easily left and right. I was like, holy shit.
Well, that was I've only had a few times that I've felt on. I'm like, it's at first I thought it was a truck. I thought a truck was rolling by. Yeah. And I'm like, and somebody said, no, it's an earthquake.
And the one that I experienced was nothing. I mean, it's a baby one. The ones that they're getting, right now somewhere in the world. I mean, there's always something that's like a 5 or a 6.
So this goes back to planets, right? Will be way more plate tectonically active,
volatile,
than ours. So I think good planets are going to be really hard. So that may be the solution. The other solution is the way you found out about it was I did that art at the previous civilization. How do you know whether or not there was a civilization on Earth? And one solution. That somebody did arrive and spent some time on Earth. But if it was 500 million years ago, they only lasted, right? Every civilization has a finite lifetime. They only lasted for, even a few hundreds of years. They wouldn't leave. There'd be no record left.
There would be nothing left.
There'd be nothing left.
Do you think possible that something's ever visited here? And because that is the big question, and that's the thing that gets the UFO dorks more jazzed up than anything is the possibility that we've been visited.
Yeah, I'm definitely not UFOs. I have two arguments against UFOs. One is, as a friend of mine, Jason Wright, says, is look, as astronomers, we're finding all those asteroids. We're finding little chunks of rock moving. Nobody looks at the sky harder than we do, right? And, anything, unless you want to go to the conspiracy theories, we would have found something. My other argument is, what's headlights? You know what I mean? People are always oh, man, I saw lights in the sky, and then they moved around, and then they disappeared, but they don't really want to be seen. I'm like, well, why do they have headlights on? Why just turn off the freaking lights? Why would they have... It's what? You came from another civilization, and you can't get around?
What the fuck are you seeing with those lights?
Right.
And you're not seeing shit.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
When was the last time you saw? I mean, planes have lights so other planes don't run into them. They don't have lights so they can see where they're going.
Yeah, so what? So they have, right, exactly.
Yeah.
The planes have lights so other people can see them. So if they're curious, they don't want to be found, then turn off the freaking lights. So,
Well, they wouldn't need lights.
Right.
Yeah, they always have lights.
Yeah,
That's
that's
true.
it. People are always,
Yeah.
oh man, I saw lights in the sky, and then they move back and forth, and so
Well,
I
this
just think
is also
like,
the problem. Human memory. Memory is
Right.
horrible.
Yeah.
And memory of events that are stunning, or shocking,
Yeah.
or unnerving, or you think you saw something.
right? They've done all research even in trials, right? Where see things. Just UFOs, I'm just kind of like,
But do you think it's possible that there could be life on other planets, and it's possible that there could be intelligent life on other planets, and we send probes to Mars? Why wouldn't? And I think that if they do send something here, they're going to send something without biological life inside of it.
yeah, well, what's a really interesting question is like, we're talking about like, what will we evolve to in, a million years? It may be possible that of intelligence.
Yes.
That, like, you build machines and the machines become, I mean, that's a real possibility that silicon makes a lot more sense than wetware.
Well, they probably think of artificial intelligence as artificial.
Right.
It's definitely real.
Right. Yeah, no,
I mean,
that's
it's-
exactly
it's
it.
It's not fake. It's
Right.
right there.
Right.
It's like there's artificial milk. You know what I mean? But it's a liquid. It's an actual liquid.
Yeah.
There's not an artificial life. It's
Right.
just silicon created life.
And that's again the idea that this may be what the biosphere solution to spreading itself.
Right.
Getting it maybe that and that's a kind of a normal phase. I mean, I am super skeptical about like the whole transhuman thing about we're going to download ourselves into intelligent computers.
Have you ever gone to one of those conventions? Talk dorks?
No, there's some serious dorking going on there.
Well, there's geniuses in those dorks too. It's
Right.
really interesting. It's like they're fully, wholly committed to this prospect of downloading themselves. Have you talked to Kurzweil before?
No, but I've read his stuff.
I
yeah.
had a chance to interview him a few years back for sci-fi.
He's super smart. That
He's
dude is like
beyond
super smart.
But
yeah.
goddamn, is he committed to it? And then when you get to it, you realize that what he actually wants to do is recreate his father. Yeah, his father died when he was young, and he wants to be able to, through memories and photographs and what he knows about his father, literally recreate his father
Won't
and,
be his
and
father.
be able to have a conversation with him.
Yeah.
He was talking about this.
Right.
But what he's doing is he's going way, way into the future, into the possibilities of. He's not seeing like, 5 years from now we're going to be able to send gigabyte pictures through the mail. No, he's saying let's think of if you keep going exponentially and
Right.
electronics
Right.
and technology and innovation keeps continually accelerating, we could potentially get to the point where it's the impossible. Well, you would be able to recreate human beings based on your knowledge of them, and they'll be able to come up with some sort of a program where he'll be able to have a conversation with his father.
Yeah, see, I think that I think it's it's true about like the possibility of singularity in technological development, but it's not going to be his father. That's the sad thing.
Right.
I think we seriously, I've done some work on this as an interest of mine about mind. What is mind? What's the relationship between mind and matter? And I think we have like a serious misunderstanding. We don't understand consciousness well at all. So the idea that like, oh yeah, it's just going to be trivial to download your consciousness into a computer, I think it's pretty, there's in there about like what mind is and the relationship between like your neurons and awareness.
Yeah.
So that's why I think those guys, it's a little bit of a religion. You know what I mean?
It is a little bit of a
We
religion.
will transcend, and so it's like.
Well, 45 is the new benchmark for whatever reason. That's the new number.
They're going to keep pushing
going
it back.
for.
It's going to be like every
Yeah.
other,
Yeah.
every other. Oh, we thought it was 2045. We really meant 2065.
Well, we
So
went
it's like-
2045 conference, me and my friend Ari and Duncan, and we got to talk to some of these guys, and it was really fascinating. And one of them had created some robot that was supposed to be him, but it didn't work well, so they never revealed it at the conference. It had too many bugs in it.
Yeah.
But it's intriguing. It's like I want them to keep going. Because, I mean, when are we going to get to Ex Machina? I mean,
Yeah.
when are we going to get to...
talk about good art. So like
Loved
just
it.
like simply, he's not
Perfect.
beating you over the head with it. It's
no
just
cut
like,
it moments in that movie.
Yeah, no, I
You
thought
were
that
like,
was-
whoa.
I know.
The entire... I think that's one of my all-time
Yeah.
top 20 movies.
when
for
she
sure.
sees them just emotionless, just like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, I'm putting the blade in.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, no, he
Spoiler
was-
alert.
Yeah, right. Did you like his?
Yes.
I liked it.
I didn't like it as much, but I
No.
liked it. It was very weird. And
Yeah.
the ending seemed like some producers put their jizz in the soup. It's just like...
Back to
how did-
panspermia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what's happening here? Who made this part?
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, and the danger with anything when it comes to AI. And so here's an interesting thing about AI. Like we are making amazing strides. AI.
Yeah.
Now artificial intelligence is different from artificial consciousness. You know what I mean? So like, but the AI that, what we're getting out of it is nothing like us, right? So back in the where people were like, oh, we're going to like model the human brain. And that's how and what they've learned is like, oh, that doesn't really work that well. So now the whole big data thing, like, network big data and deep learning, where like, they're using statistical, the power of having huge amounts of computing and statistical reasoning so that like, the computer, it'll find the picture of the cat, but you have no idea why it found the picture. It didn't reason, oh yeah, that sort of looks like cat and I like cats. It was just like, oh, these kinds of lines go with that kind of thing. It has no idea what it's doing, but it'll act intelligently. And so that's kind of freaky deaky in a lot of ways too. I think it's smart to think about the dangers of AI, not necessarily when it takes over.
Dangers to us.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the dangers. Just the dangers to this thing that we are, this weird monkey thing.
Yeah.
That wants to keep being a monkey thing.
Yeah. Well, you mean in the that it's going to replace?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's inevitable. I mean, don't you think that if you go back and interview the single-celled organism before it branched off into multi-celled,
that'd be kind of a boring interview.
Fuck this multi-celled bullshit. I'm single cell at the bottom of the ocean.
These guys are animals, man, with their rock and roll music.
They're going to make cars? Fuck that. I don't want a car, man. I like staying down here.
Yeah.
Like there's a real thought to that we are the wetware that is the problem.
Yeah. No. I think it's fully conceivable. Like, I'd be like, it'll never happen. But as a guy knows, a philosopher says, there's a certain way in which everything we do with AI right now, it's not like, Watson is playing chess. It's like using Watson to play chess. It's our tool. And I think the fear is the tool at hand. Not that it like develops a thing where like, I hate humans, Dad, I hate you. But more that, these things which are not actually thinking, they act in huge, like, it'll have a really negative impact. It'll what is it? There's that example of like if you design something that is an AI system, paper clips, it ends up consuming the entire planet making paper clips because that's what you told it to do.
Right. You never told like a sustainable amount of paper clips.
Right. Exactly. So I'm more worried about that than I am of like Skynet, coming in like, deciding that it's going to, take the bombs on us because it needs to get rid of us. Well,